There comes a moment in life when you look around and realize that some of the people you trusted, people you sacrificed for, stood beside, and gave your energy to, were never truly there for you. They took what they needed, drained you of your strength, and when there was nothing left to take, they walked away without a second thought. And in the silence they left behind, you ask yourself, was I not enough? Did I not give enough? But here's the truth. It was never about you being enough. It was about them taking what they could for as long as they could, without regard for the cost. Some people operate like this. They see kindness and interpret it as weakness. They see loyalty and take it as permission. And before you even realize what's happening, you've given away more than you should have to someone who never intended to give anything back. But here's where the story shifts. Because if you're sitting here feeling broken, feeling used, you have a choice. You can stay in that place, resentful, angry, bitter, or you can take what happened and use it as fuel. You were not left broken. You were left with knowledge. You were left with the ability to see manipulation for what it is. And that means next time, because there will be a next time, you'll be ready. The world is tough. People will take advantage of you if you let them. But you do not have to be a victim of it forever. Strength comes not from never falling, but from getting up one more time than you were knocked down. So stand up, set boundaries, refuse to be used, and when they come back, because they often do, stand tall, look them in the eye, and let them see that the person they broke is gone. In their place is someone they can never take from again. Exploitation in disguise. In life, people often find themselves entangled in relationships, whether personal, professional, or social, where they believe they are valued, respected, and appreciated. They give their time, effort, and even pieces of themselves, hoping to build something meaningful. But what happens when, despite their best intentions, they are used and discarded? What happens when the very people they trusted reveal that their kindness was merely a resource to be extracted? This is the harsh reality of exploitation in disguise. It is not always easy to see it coming. In fact, it often hides behind charming words, grand promises, and moments of seemingly genuine connection. Manipulative individuals do not announce their intentions at the start. They don't say, I will drain you of your energy and leave you empty. Instead, they wear masks, presenting themselves as allies, as friends, as mentors, or even as lovers. At first, they make you feel seen, understood, and appreciated. They tell you what you want to hear. They validate your dreams, your struggles, and your fears. This is not accidental. It is calculated. They know that by making you feel special, they gain access to your trust. And once they have that, they begin to take. You may not notice it immediately. It often starts small, favors here and there, little sacrifices that seem reasonable, but over time you start to feel a shift. You give and they take. You adjust and they demand more. Your needs become secondary. Your feelings are dismissed. And yet you stay, convincing yourself that this is just a rough patch, that they will see your value, that they will eventually give back what you've given them. But that day never comes. Instead, you wake up one morning feeling drained. You wonder why you are always exhausted, why you feel unappreciated, why you constantly have to prove your worth to someone who never had to prove theirs. And when you finally reach a breaking point, when you push back, when you demand respect, when you stop feeding the dynamic, they leave. Suddenly, their affection, their presence, their so-called loyalty disappears. They move on as if you never mattered. And in that moment, you realize they were never truly there for you. They were there for what you could provide. This is the devastating truth about exploitation. It doesn't look like outright cruelty at first. It looks like friendship, like love, like mentorship. But beneath the surface, it is a one-sided transaction where one person benefits while the other slowly withers. So how do you protect yourself? Awareness is the first step. You must learn to recognize the patterns. Watch for those who only reach out when they need something. Pay attention to how people react when you set boundaries. Do they respect your limits, or do they guilt trip you into compliance? Do they add to your life, or do they only take? And most importantly, never be afraid to walk away. Your value is not measured by how much you endure for others. It is not defined by your willingness to be used. You are not a resource to be drained. You are a human being with inherent worth. People will test your limits. Some will push to see how much they can take from you before you break. But you do not have to play that game. You can recognize the signs. You can say no. And when someone shows you that they only see you as a means to an end, believe them and leave before they leave you. Because the truth is, the moment you stop being useful to them, they will discard you without hesitation. The question is, will you see it before it's too late? The cost of blind trust. Trust is one of the most valuable things you can give another person. It is the foundation of all meaningful relationships, whether in love, friendship, business, or mentorship. But trust, when given blindly, is also one of the easiest ways to be manipulated, used, and ultimately discarded. Many people suffer not because they are weak, but because they place their faith in the wrong hands. From a young age, we are taught to believe in the goodness of others, to assume that people mean well, and to give them the benefit of the doubt. While this is not entirely wrong, it is dangerously incomplete. Not everyone has your best interests at heart. Some people see trust as a currency to be exploited. They will take advantage of your willingness to believe in them, and by the time you realize what's happening, you will have lost more than just your trust. You will have lost time, energy, resources, and sometimes even your sense of self. The cost of blind trust is high. It is the friend who only calls when they need something, the mentor who promises to guide you but instead uses your effort for their own gain, the partner who claims to love you but slowly erodes your confidence. The worst part? You don't see it coming. You believe in them because you want to, because you think that if you just give a little more, if you just prove yourself, they will finally reciprocate. But they don't. And when you realize the truth, that your loyalty was a tool in their hands, you are left with two choices. Either you become cynical, refusing to trust anyone ever again, or you learn the painful but necessary lesson of discernment. Discernment is the ability to see people for who they are, not for who you wish they were. It means recognizing patterns instead of clinging to words. If someone repeatedly takes without giving, that is not an accident, it is a pattern. If they constantly break promises, that is not forgetfulness, it is a lack of integrity. If they only respect you when you serve their needs, that is not friendship, it is exploitation. But here's where most people struggle. The truth hurts. It's easier to believe that someone simply made a mistake than to admit they never had good intentions to begin with. It's easier to justify someone's behavior than to acknowledge that they don't truly care. But the longer you deny reality, the more you suffer. So what do? How do you protect yourself without shutting yourself off from the world? First, understand that trust must be earned, not given freely. Pay attention to people's actions, not just their words. Someone who truly values you will prove it over time. They will be consistent. They will respect your boundaries. They will not demand more than they are willing to give. Second, set standards for the people you allow into your life. If someone repeatedly makes you feel drained, anxious, or undervalued, that is your signal to step back. You do not owe anyone unlimited access to your time and energy. Accept that some people will leave when you stop being useful to them. Let them go. It is better to walk away with your dignity intact than to stay and be slowly broken down. Trust is precious. It should be given carefully, guarded wisely, and withdrawn when necessary. Because the cost of blind trust is not just betrayal, it is the slow erosion of your self-worth. And that is a price you should never have to pay. Rebuilding from betrayal. Betrayal is one of the deepest wounds a person can experience. It is not just about being used or abandoned. It is about the realization that someone you trusted never valued you the way you valued them. It shatters your sense of security, making you question everything. Was I not good enough? Did I deserve this? How could I have been so blind? But here's what you need to understand. Betrayal says more about the betrayer than it does about you. People who use and discard others are not acting out of strength. They are acting out of weakness. They take because they do not know how to give. They manipulate because they fear real connection. They betray because they lack the courage to be honest. However, knowing this doesn't make the pain disappear. The reality is betrayal leaves you broken. It makes you doubt not only others, but also yourself, your judgment, your worth, your ability to trust again. And this is where the true battle begins. Because what happens next is not about them anymore. It's about you. You have two choices. You can let betrayal define you, leaving you bitter and closed off, or you can use it as the foundation to build something stronger. The people who hurt you do not get to decide your future. You do. So how do you rebuild? How do you take the pieces of what they left behind and turn them into something unbreakable? Accept the pain, but don't dwell in it. The pain is real. Ignoring it won't make it go away. You have to sit with it, acknowledge it, and let yourself grieve. But there is a difference between processing pain and living in it. Some people let betrayal turn them into victims for life, replaying the hurt over and over. Don't do that. Feel it, learn from it, and then decide to move forward. Learn the lesson, not the fear. The biggest mistake people make after being betrayed is thinking that everyone is out to hurt them. That's not true. There are good people in the world, but you must learn how to recognize them. Betrayal is a harsh teacher, but it teaches you discernment. Pay attention to actions, not just words. Look for consistency, integrity, and respect. Not everyone deserves your trust, and that's okay. Rebuild yourself, not just your defenses. After betrayal, many people put up walls. They become guarded, distant, unwilling to connect. And while boundaries are necessary, isolation is not the answer. True strength is not in avoiding relationships. It is in knowing how to engage with others without losing yourself. Strength is in knowing that even if someone betrays you again, you will not break the way you did before. Use the betrayal as fuel. Every great story of transformation comes from pain. Some of the most resilient, successful people in the world have been used, deceived, and abandoned. What made them different? They didn't let it destroy them. They let it refine them. Betrayal can make you wiser, stronger, and more capable if you choose to use it that way. Let go, but never forget. Forgiveness is not for them, It is for you. Holding on to anger only keeps you chained to the past. But forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It means remembering the lesson without carrying the weight of the pain. It means releasing the emotional grip that betrayal had on you so you can walk forward unburdened. You may have been broken, but you are not destroyed. You may have been betrayed, but you are not defeated. The fact that you are still here, still standing, means you have a choice. You can let this moment define you in weakness, or you can use it to rebuild into someone who will never be broken the same way again. The ones who left you thought they were leaving you with nothing, but they were wrong. They left you with wisdom, with resilience, with the fire to rise higher than they ever expected. And that is a power they will never understand. Holding your ground. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that people will take advantage of you if you let them. Some do it intentionally, calculating every move to benefit themselves at your expense. Others do it instinctively, drawn to your kindness, generosity, or willingness to sacrifice. Either way, the result is the same. You give, they take, and when you finally have nothing left, they move on without a second thought. But here's what you need to understand. No one can walk all over you unless you lie down first. Holding your ground is not about being rude, selfish, or aggressive. It's about self-respect. It's about recognizing your own value and refusing to let anyone treat you as disposable. The fear of disappointing others. Many people struggle to set boundaries because they are afraid of upsetting others. They don't want to come across as mean or ungrateful, so they keep saying yes when they want to say no. They keep making sacrifices for people who wouldn't do the same for them. They keep tolerating disrespect, hoping that if they just endure it a little longer, the other person will finally see their worth. But here's the truth. The people who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries, and the ones who only value you for what you can give them, they will leave the moment you stop giving. That is not a loss. It is a revelation. The power of no. One of the simplest yet most powerful things you can do is learn to say no without guilt. No to people who only show up when they need something. No to relationships that drain you. No to situations that compromise your self-respect. Saying no is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of clarity. It forces you to see who truly respects you and who only sticks around because of what they can get from you. If your no makes someone angry, it means they were never really interested in you, only in what you could provide. Stop explaining yourself. When you set boundaries, some people will demand an explanation. They will question your choices, make you feel guilty, or try to manipulate you into changing your mind. But here's something to remember. You do not owe anyone an explanation for valuing yourself. You don't have to justify why you're no longer available 24/7. You don't have to apologize for protecting your peace. You don't have to convince anyone that your boundaries are reasonable. The right people will respect them. The wrong people will resist them. And that resistance tells you everything you need to know. The strength to walk away. Sometimes holding your ground means making the hard choice to walk away. It means cutting ties with people who refuse to respect your limits. It means leaving environments that diminish you rather than empower you. This is not easy. It will hurt. You may second guess yourself. You may wonder if you are being too harsh. But ask yourself this: if someone truly valued you, would they put you in a position where you had to choose between your well-being and their approval? The people who deserve a place in your life will not require you to diminish yourself to keep them. strength attracts respect. People often fear that setting boundaries will push others away, and sometimes it does, but more often than not, it earns respect. Strength is attractive. Confidence commands attention. When you hold your ground, you send a message: I know my worth, and I will not settle for less. You are not put on this earth to be a doormat for others. You are not here to constantly prove yourself to people who will never appreciate you. The moment you stop begging for respect and start demanding it, everything changes. The ones who used you and left you broken never expected you to rise again. But here you are, standing taller than ever, holding your ground, refusing to let anyone take from you what they do not deserve. And that is a power they will never be able to take away from you again. Transformation through pain. Pain is a teacher. It is not a lesson anyone seeks out willingly, but it is one that life will force upon you. And when people use you, betray you, and leave you broken, the pain feels unbearable. It shakes the foundation of who you are. It makes you question your worth, your choices, and even your future. But here's the truth most people don't realize. Pain is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to transform you. Every person who has achieved something great, who has become truly strong, has faced suffering. They did not escape it. They endured it, learned from it, and used it as fuel to build something greater. You are not the same person you were before they hurt you. And that's not a bad thing, because now you have the opportunity to become someone even stronger, even wiser, even more unbreakable than before. Pain forces you to see the truth. Before you were broken, you might have seen the world through a lens of innocence. You believed that people always meant well, that love and loyalty were always reciprocated, that if you gave enough, others would do the same. Pain shatters those illusions. And while that can feel devastating, you now see people for who they truly are, not just who they pretend to be. You recognize manipulation where you once saw friendship. You detect dishonesty where you once saw charm. This clarity is painful, but it is also your greatest weapon. It allows you to move forward without falling for the same traps. Pain teaches you what truly matters. There was a time when you might have given everything to people who never deserved it. Your energy, your love, your time. It was all spent on those who saw you as a resource rather than a person. But pain has a way of refining your priorities. Now you know what and who is truly worth your time. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth to those who never valued you in the first place. Instead, you invest in yourself. You protect your peace. You surround yourself with those who lift you up rather than drain you. Pain is the fire that forges strength. Look at the strongest, most resilient people in the world. Do you think they were always that way? No. They became strong because life gave them no other choice. They were hurt, abandoned, and left to pick up the pieces alone. But instead of letting pain turn them into victims, they used it to become warriors. Every hardship you endure adds another layer to your strength. Every betrayal teaches you resilience. Every loss forces you to rebuild with more wisdom. This is how pain transforms you. It pushes you beyond your limits, forcing you to become something greater than you were before. You are not who they left behind. The people who used you and left you broken thought they were walking away from the same person they took advantage of, but they were wrong. The version of you that they manipulated, that they drained, that they abandoned, that person no longer exists. What they left behind was a person who has learned to set boundaries, a person who no longer seeks validation from the wrong people, a person who refuses to be used again. They expected to leave you weak, but instead they unknowingly helped create the strongest version of you. Your pain is your power. Most people fear pain. They run from it, suppress it, or let it define them. But the ones who truly rise, they use it. They turn heartbreak into motivation. They turn betrayal into wisdom. They turn suffering into strength. You were used, yes. You were broken, yes. But that is not the end of your story. You are not just a person who was hurt. You are a person who survived. And not just survived, but transformed. You have a choice: stay in the pain and let it consume you, or rise from it and let it fuel you. The ones who broke you never expected you to get back up, but here you are, standing stronger than ever. And that is the ultimate victory.